I am Vahram, the founder and board chairman of the Network State Pan-Armenian Foundation. How we started and what we think when saying a network state and where we want to go. Well, the network state movement, which I call that way, was born in February 2021. When after the war in 2020, when Armenia lost the war and there were a lot of, sufferings. So basically, what I initially thought was that kind of trying to connect the Armenian diaspora through a network state, so that the Armenians, and by the way, Armenians are present in more than 100 countries, and we have huge diaspora communities. For example, in Los Angeles, 1 million Armenians live in Los Angeles, for example, in California, in Paris, in general, in France, in Russia, etc. So that was kind of a plan, a very basic plan to connect people with each other, so that they would start working together for the good of the Armenian state and the Armenian nation, Armenian civilization in general. So that was the beginning. But then we became a foundation, so that we established ourselves as a legal entity. And also we are in the United Nations database as a foundation, by the way. So that's for your information reference. But then, after a year and a half, I personally realized that this network state concept and the network state structures are a necessity not only for the Armenians, but for the global community. And of course, I got acquainted, I read what Balaji Srinivasan said, about the network state. And I also met the other network state structures and concept. So basically the idea that now we have come up with is that we need to build a harmonic, peaceful world, and the network state is just a means. So to achieve that very end, right? So that harmonic, peaceful world. It's a bit, it sounds a bit utopian concept, but I feel that I am not the only one, right? I am a dreamer, but I am not the only one. And so the concrete projects that I would propose and that we are working on is that we basically, first of all, try to bridge civilizations, cultures, and peoples. So that's very important. So basically, this way you kind of try to go out of the state, nation state structure and try to connect peoples, cultures, and civilizations. And how we, imagine to do that. We propose to organize forums for scientists or philosophers for cultural representatives who can freely talk out of state bureaucracy and communicate with each other. Because today, the world's, one of the key problems the world is facing is the lack of communication, real communication. The statehood representatives go and talk with each other, which is within the bureaucracy. So they even, in many, so most time, they wouldn't, honestly talk to each other. Which is already a blow to communication. So that's one thing. You basically create a platform, big, global, huge platform, so that people's cultures and civilizations talk to each other via their representatives who are independent and free. So that's one key step. The second step is you build up big, institutional structures, which are again out of the bureaucratic schemes of the states, whether they are in the Western world or outside of it. Because when you have these forums and these conferences, you try to make them permanent. So those permanent forums, conferences, and meetings become power. And you start using and applying to their resources. So this is a very important thing, because there are a lot of projects that you want to undertake, and then you see that you have to go to the state or to state boundaries in order to achieve them. And the third thing that is very important is the security component of this, because there are a lot of, I did talk with a lot of retired military officers. So these guys are also keen on, I mean, getting together and forming a very serious component, I mean, power component that will then allow, I mean, this structure to, how to say it, to show its might and show its teeth. Without this, I mean, this power structure, I think it will be very difficult to achieve any result at the very long term. Why I'm saying this? Because on December 26th, there is a publication media outlet called Divergent Options. An American military officer named Bryce Johnson, if I'm not mistaken, if I don't, I'm not mistaken with his name, yeah, published an article about network states and claiming that in 2050, the United States of America is going to fight in a big war against a network state, which will be in the United States. This is a very interesting, I mean, article, and from the perception of a military officer who is currently serving in the United States. Why I'm saying it? Because we talk about blockchain, we talk about, I mean, technology, we talk about independent cities, we talk about how Balaji sees, I mean, this, I mean, forming of the network state and how it can compete or cooperate with the states. But I would say that our main focus, in my opinion, would be the people everywhere. I mean, because if you can go to the hearts of millions of, even billions of people, then you will win. You will win that game. And it's not like, I mean, you, from the very first day you say that, okay, we are coming to abolish the nation states. But first of all, the main thing is that you need to be a virus in a positive sense, so that people everywhere, in the United States, in China, in India, so realize that the cons and pros of this network state movement, the pros are higher than cons, because if you are within a global community, which is based on the philosophy, on the very ideology of the harmonic world, and the network state is a structure, is a means to achieve that harmonic world, then you will definitely win this game. Because what we are facing now is a unprecedented level of crisis. Maybe last time the humanity faced this type of crisis during Ark of Noah time, when that big, I mean, flood, I mean, took place, and humanity, reborn, right? Was reborn. So this is what we are facing now, is like something like that, because people have started talking of nuclear war, and people have started talking about bombing each other. I mean, there is a hocus pocus in international arena, and the most important thing, the humanity itself is facing a decadence, a huge, biggest crisis of values. So people have forgotten the humanistic values that we were used to grow up with and we're used to living with. So this is a very important transitional factor. What I propose is that let's write down a roadmap of how to make this civilizational transition, so based on values. And the number one value would be a harmonic world where people would cooperate with each other rather than compete. Now we have a world which is based on competition, and this competition is a very ugly competition. It's not a healthy one. So for that, I mean, the Armenian contingent, the Armenian diaspora, and the Armenian civilization itself will be definitely ready to serve, because we, throughout history, used to work on this, I mean, in this direction. If we look back to 2,000 years ago, or 5,000 years ago, or even 10,000 years ago, so people in the Armenian highlands were kind of trying to connect people in Europe with China, with India. So this communicator connector role, we need to take as a network state, this communicator connector role, so people would come and talk to each other. And when talk with each other, not to each other, with each other, then we'll definitely find that great solution. So the first thing, the most important thing is that if we accept that we need to reach to people's hearts, that's the most important thing. Not the brains, but hearts, because people, I mean, anyone, I mean, can be very clever, I mean, bright brain, but they can be ugly. I mean, they can be evil. So ugly, I mean, in terms of, their ideas. So basically, that's the most important thing: how to reach people's hearts. And the network state needs to serve it, so that the network states are coming to the world to save the humanity from the collapse, the decadence of value crisis. We need to bring humanistic values back to people, and there are 8 billion people, and I think the majority of them would be definitely fond of this solution, so that to get back the humanity, because achieved so far, that we have, established so far, because the technology has developed with skyrocketing speed, but the humanity as a socium, as a social strata, hasn't developed that way. So our main focus would be to reach people's hearts, that with a clear message that we want to come to build a harmonic world, and the network state is coming to serve that biggest ideology, that biggest idea. So but basically, as again, I reiterate that you need to convince people that you have a big dream, and that your dream is their dream. So when you have that ideology behind you, then a lot of people will come with you. And if what is a state? State is people, right? You clearly showed it. I mean, when people say that, when people see that that you come to build a wonderful, wonderful is like a utopian idea, right? But at least a harmonic, peaceful world where people are connected to each other, not based on state boundaries, but based on network state principles. And we need to write down that roadmap. What are our principles? Then definitely, people will come to you, and then to nation state. And of course, we will have a lot of, people who would try to hinder it from happening. But that doesn't necessarily mean that that it is not possible. And I, as a Network State Panarmian Foundation founder chairman, is here to serve it. You can know more about us at networkstate.io website, and I am here to answer any questions you can have.